Somehow Blizzard did it. Somehow they got every single WoW player and their mom to be excited about retail World of Warcraft again. This past week, we had Blizzcon. Most likely you guys were watching it live. Most likely you guys were there in attendance. Hopefully you guys had a lot of fun. I will be there next year. That is my intention. But I admit, I didn't actually get to watch the presentations or anything. Over the weekend, I was gone. I was at a big ol' event. I was watching a bunch of dudes beating the crap out of each other in medieval armor. I set a new PR in front of an entire crowd. And then I got to come home to learn about the War Within, this new World of Warcraft expansion that everyone is talking about and everybody's freaking out over. But is it really as good as people say it is? Well, I'm gonna go through the various features of this expansion as a filthy casual, the filthy casual in fact, and I'm just gonna share my opinions and feedback on the expansion. If you want the TLDR, it looks pretty good. All right, but before we jump in, we do have to thank this channel's sponsor, Zygor. If you want World of Warcraft's ultimate add-on for leveling, gold making, achievement collecting, mount collecting, it don't matter. Zygor does everything. Link down below in the description. Use Nixxiom for 20% off. Blizzard began the announcement of this new expansion with this brand new approach to how they're going to do expansions going forward. You see, Blizzard has always just kind of done expansions as standalone projects. You've got Burning Crusade, you've got Wrath of the Lich King, and although they are somewhat connected in a story, not really. At BlizzCon, we were introduced to the World Soul Saga. Pretty much Blizzard told us what the next 3 expansions for WoW are going to be, starting with the War Within and ending with the Last Titan. I think this idea of presenting to people all the expansions coming forward, maybe not showing all the content that's coming forward and like the features and stuff, but showing them that, hey, there is this interconnected storyline between these expansions, characters that you know, that you love, that are probably going to die, face struggles, whatever. This immediately makes people want to be more engaged in the storyline and in the expansion, because who wants to get to part 3 and you've already missed part 2 and 1? It's like jumping to the end of the story instead of enjoying, you know, the adventure to get there. I think this is actually a really cool move on Blizzard's part to announce so much ahead of schedule. Only possible con with this is just maybe predictability. You know, as the first expansion rolls on, maybe the second expansion and its story will become very predictable. The conclusion might become predictable, if that makes sense. That's really the only con I can see in this situation, but maybe you guys might see something that I don't. Let's talk about the Earthen. So we're gonna be getting a new allied race in this new expansion, and it is dwarves. Again, more dwarves, guys, but this time the dwarves can be on the Horde. And they're made of rock. I think it's going to be interesting having a bunch of dwarves running around in Orgrimmar, but at the same time, you know, being a little blunt here, a little honest, the factions, you know, the Horde and the Alliance don't really mean anything in modern World of Warcraft anymore, especially since Dragonflight. So, I mean, at this point, even having a human running around in Orgrimmar isn't probably far-fetched from what we're going to see potentially in the future of this game, but I guess we're gonna find out. The best part about the Earthen, hands down though, that nobody's talking about, is the fact that the female dwarves can have beards. Now, I know that this is a little weird, but in traditional fantasy, like Lord of the Rings style fantasy, dwarvish women have beards. So finally getting to see this in World of Warcraft is really cool. Yes, I know it's bizarre, the idea of a lady with a beard, but this is fantasy, man. This is like J.R.R. Tolkien at its finest, man, as strange as it sounds. I'm an old school fantasy fan. What can I say? I like the fact that the ladies can have beards. We haven't seen their racials or their mounts yet, though, at least not from what I remember at the time of me making this video, but hopefully we'll get to see those soon, and I'm excited to see them. I do understand the complaint that some people have said, though, in regards to the Earthen. Oh, not another dwarf race. You know, we've already got the dwarves. We got the dark iron dwarves. Now we're getting the stoned dwarves. I mean, come on, like, you know, all these dwarvish races. I understand that complaint, but come on. I mean, it's the Earthen, dude. They got crystals and stuff. Like, they look kind of cool. It's also really cool you don't have to do a stupid rep grind to unlock these things. You just got to play through the storyline. But let's talk about the real meat and potatoes here. Let's talk about delves. So for years in World of Warcraft, you've always had this dynamic going on at endgame where you're either a PvPer or you're a PvEer. You're either doing battlegrounds or arenas, or you're doing dungeons and raids. And maybe you're just making gold or farming achievements or collecting mounts on the side, but that's really it. There's never really been like a path for the single player WoW player or the open world loving WoW player. Someone like me, I admit, like I really love, you know, exploring the open world and interacting with tons of players in the open world and stuff. That's just my, you know, cup of tea, I suppose. The point is, people have been sort of pigeonholed into these paths, and for years players have been saying, hey, can we get a new way to approach the World of Warcraft endgame? And Blizzard is giving it to us in the form of delves. Delves are single player, or potentially, you know, maybe up to 5-player type content, where essentially it's just content located in the open world. You walk into these sort of dungeon-like experiences that are generated at random. You have a companion. At the beginning of the expansion, it's going to be Bran Bronzebeard, and this companion slowly levels up with you as you do these delves and undertake these adventures and uncover the treasures, you know, located within. You're going to be able to get them gear. You're going to be able to, like, you know, increase their abilities and stuff, give them new spells and whatnot to make them like sync with your play style. And this just sounds really cool, especially for those days where maybe, like, you know, no one's around to do a raid, and maybe like your arena team is not online because so-and-so is sick. I don't know. The fact that you have this single player approach to actually do end game and actually get some decent, you know, well, it's not decent, it's end game gear, I think is interesting. There are some potential, you know, cons with this, and I think everybody's kind of perking an eyebrow because, number one, you know, how balanced is this going to be with, let's say, raiding or PvP? I mean, if it's just piss easy for me to go into a single player thing and just get the same gear that I would get if I had to round up, you know, 9 or 24 other people to do a raid, I mean, why would I waste my time rounding up all the people when I can just walk into that cave right there and get, like, you know, some of the best gear in the game, right? So hopefully Blizzard puts a lot of time on the balancing. The second thing is the fact that these delves are going to be very replayable. Every time you go into a delve, it's going to be different. You've also got this companion and stuff. It's actually a concern of mine that delves might kill raiding, or really hurt it at least, because every time you go into a raid, it's the same damn raid. But if you're going into a delve, you know, just you, or maybe like, you know, you and your friend or something, and you're getting a different encounter every single time, and you got like this whole companion system that you're getting to geek out over. I mean, does raiding sound as much fun as doing that? I don't know. So whatever. But the big thing that, and you guys know I'm going to talk about this because I'm a big fan of the multiplayer element of an MMO. I mean, it's in the title, you know, massively multiplayer online role-playing game, there is, of course, the concern of if this does become the path of least resistance, it will certainly hurt the social element of World of Warcraft. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there today that are going to be like, dude, I don't care about the social element. I'm a total introvert. I don't want to talk to people. I get that. But this is an MMORPG, right? This is a multiplayer game, you know, get together with your friends, with your guild, meet people and so on, and undertake challenges. And so, you know, this is a very, the multiplayer element of an MMO is really what determines its survivability, you know, over the years. A single player game gets boring after a while, right? After like a few months, but a multiplayer game continues to be fun, potentially for years, not because of the game itself, but because of the people playing the game. Take me, for example. I've been playing this stupid game since 2005. That's ridiculous. And it ain't because the game is like made of solid gold and literally shits diamonds. No, it's because of the friends that I play the game with. That's what's kept me playing the game. So I'm always a big advocate for the social element of the game. And of course, I'm always concerned when Blizzard maybe does something that might hurt the social element of the game. But I don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. We're going to beta test this son bitch, and we're going to see, you know, what delves are really like. But they sound really cool. Also, that fully customizable delve mount, delicious. The warband system. There is not much to say here. It is a fantastic idea. Having your whole account be a warband that all your characters contribute into is such a great addition to the game. I am surprised it has taken this long for something like this to happen, but to be fair, I guess they kind of had to kill the whole Horde versus Alliance thing in order to make this idea like a thing, because it's kind of weird that like a human in Elwyn Forest is collecting linen cloth that an orc in Durotar is then turning into bags, like they're working together. In the current lore, that makes sense. In the lore from just like 3 expansions ago, not so much. So the warband system, I mean, it's long overdue, right? It's long overdue. It's a really cool system. I love it. No one's complaining, at least not from what I've seen. Hero talents. People are gonna throw mean words at me in the comments, but the hero talent system, I mean, it looks good, but it's not that impressive, right? All it is you're just getting some additional talent points, but you get to choose a tree, one of 2 trees that you get to invest those points into. Here's my thing with hero talents, right? This is genuine criticism directed at Blizzard from me, Nixxiom. I'm just one opinion among many, though. The talents that you showed off at BlizzCon were cool, but there was nothing like impressive about them. Okay, you're a keeper of the grove. Your treants now restore mana as they attack people. I mean, that's it? Like, that's the keeper of the grove, you know, like these little passive abilities and these little, you know, like small changes to already existing abilities. How about something like that makes you feel like a freaking badass? How about like, how about, you know, Wrath of the Forest, where instead of summoning 3 treants, you summon 12. And some of them are shooting people with moonbeams, and some of them are shooting people with wrath, and some of them are healing people, and some of them are tanking, and it's just a frickin' army of the frickin' forest like coming at you. It's like the Ents attacking Isengard. You know, it's like a more OP version of the Death Knight Army of the Dead. Now that would make you feel like a frickin' keeper of the grove, you know, a badass. Like, Blizzard, when it comes to the hero talents, like, don't be afraid to like do some absolute madness with these hero talents. I mean, make your players feel like you really are a keeper of the grove, like you really are a rider of the apocalypse, you know, or you are like a, what are some of the other ones, like Diabloist and whatnot. Like, really, you know, I don't know. We'll see, you know, how the hero talent system progresses, but I admit, I love the idea. It just didn't look that impressive. You know, it looked like just a bunch of passives. It's like, come on, Blizzard, more new spells, you know, new things that make that keeper of the druid different from that disciple of Elune. You know what I mean? That's all I have to say about that. The new zones look absolutely beautiful. I love the fact that there's this verticality, especially to the new zones that we're going to get to explore. You know, we're really actually going down into the earth. At least that's, you know, the perception that I got from their concept art. Looks awesome. And especially that one zone where you actually see Sargeras's sword and it's acting as like this, you know, like sun almost lighting up the whole zone, and there's trees and everything. By the way, I saw all these damn comments like floating around on the internet saying, dude, it looks like there's like a giant Naru in this zone or something. That ain't no damn Naru. That's Sargeras's sword, you blind ass bitch. Like, what are you talking about? Don't you recognize a giant fucking demon sword when you see it? I mean, come on. The point is, it looked badass. I think the new zones look beautiful, but the WoW art team always knocks it out of the park. I mean, when's the last time they didn't? And now, the one thing that everyone's gonna hate me for, damn, here it comes. That new cinematic. All right, you either love that new cinematic and think it's the greatest thing ever, or you think it was some old booty. And I gotta say, I thought it was a little bit of some old booty. I mean, I like the shot of the big ass sword and whatnot, but watching Thrall and Anduin have a little therapy session wasn't exactly that, yeah, like get me in there. Like, wow, I can't wait to dive into the war within. Like I've seen all the comments of people like ripping on Anduin because he's sad and stuff. I don't, look, the guy's been through some stuff, okay? He's got some PTSD. Freaking Nipple Satan had this dude under his control and domination for who knows how long. The point is, Anduin has seen some things, so it's, you know, perfectly justifiable for him to be a little, like, messed up in the head, right? I ain't on that bandwagon. My bandwagon is just the fact that it was just a little bit of a, it was very story-driven, and I appreciate that. I mean, I love the story-driven elements of World of Warcraft. I mean, who doesn't, to be fair? But it felt more of, like, an in-game cutscene rather than a, this is the war within, like, get hyped, you know, like when you watch the Wrath of the Lich King cinematic, or TBC, like, you are not prepared, or, you know, the Warlords of Draenor cinematic, like, we will never be slaves. Yeah, so cool, right? You know, hypes you up, like, yeah, this one, you get a little bit of that, like, oh, wow, look, there's a big-ass sword in the cinematic. But, I mean, compared to other, like, cinematics, I mean, am I wrong in saying it wasn't as hype? Just my opinion. And that's really it, guys. PvPers, you guys are getting that new battleground. I'm excited to play around in that because World of Warcraft needs more battlegrounds. Like, damn, it needs more battlegrounds. Let me tell you what. As like an old school PvP fan, like, the game is severely lacking for new battlegrounds. So I'm just gonna say that. But that's pretty much it, guys. What'd you guys think about the War Within? I'm gonna make a video here soon talking about the new classic WoW announcements, which I'm also very excited for, I admit. And when that video is done, I will put it on the screen right now so you can watch that if you want. Thanks for watching though, guys, and I'll see you with my next video.